Hello, everybody. This is Late Night Baltimore, live streaming, going over some football from yesterday. There was some football yesterday, my friends. The Ravens were not involved, but the teams they're going to be having to deal with, Kansas City, is coming to town. That means all them Kansas City Swifties is coming to town with old Travis Kelce. Tonight's episode is brought to you by tape. Scotch tape it is. Quite good, very reliable. Also, reading classes. They aren't much, but you can see through them. Third, brought to you by Chrome, the classiest cologne in all the world. But this episode isn't brought to you by this type of chrome. It's brought to you by this 4/5 used bottle of chrome, just this one. So, if you want to place an order, feel free to do so anywhere from the rest of the world. Okay, now we will go over some football. There was football Sunday. The games turned out exactly as we here in Late Night Baltimore said they would. Always listen to your LNB. You can't go wrong. Okay, so let's start with the games. The first game were the Lions versus the Tampa Bay Buccaneers at Ford Field, Ford Stadium, whatever they call it, in Detroit. The Lions are in the NFC Championship. Ain't that something? They won. And you can say about the Lions, they won because they did something that some of these teams have not been able to do. Some of these so-called top teams, such as Buffalo, was not able to do. They did not panic. Through their first 6 possessions in the game, they recorded 3 3-and-outs and crossed midfield only twice. However, on the 7th, 8th, and 9th possessions, they scored touchdowns. They stayed calmly and actually allowed their difficulty in passing to set up an opening for a running game. And they've found some new running backs here lately in the season. Now, if I mess up any of these names, it doesn't matter. These people aren't going to be listening to the show. But I think his name is Johnny Gibbs. He ran for 114 yards and 1 touchdown. Also, Aaron St. Brown had 77 yards, including the game-sealing touchdown. Jared Goff, the quarterback, once thrown to the wreckage pile and ridiculed by all the so-called experts in the NFL. He was the psychological twin of Carson Wentz. He was supposed to be, but he came back this year and he kicked some ass all over the NFC. This game he threw for 287 yards and 2 touchdowns. Okay, so the running game got them 189 total yards. Baker Mayfield, who I have sometimes not been all that respectful to, of, and for, he threw 3 touchdowns in the game. His last interception towards the end, it was a poorly thrown ball. But I'm telling you one thing about this MF. You got to say, this MF left it all on the field. And for that, he deserves a certain amount of respect. Just kind of like what this guy does, this 8. All right, now, it's another guy. I'm getting his name wrong. His name is Sam Laporta. He's a tight end. He had 9 catches for Detroit. He's a rookie. The Bucs did panic. Even though they have the worst rushing attack this year in the NFL, they were running quite well at the beginning of the game. They had 89 yards rushing with a 5.9 average at one point. But like we've been saying throughout these playoffs, teams who just go out of the run for no reason, but just to go out of it, they end up losing the game. You got to keep running when you can run. The Lions got on the board first in the game in the middle of the first quarter with a 23-yard field goal, and they led 3-0. The Bucs, with 4:19 left in the first, tied it with a field goal. In the second quarter, Goff threw a 9-yard touchdown to Reynolds, and it was 10-3 Detroit. But right before half, Baker Mayfield hit a receiver Otten for a 2-yard touchdown pass, tying it at midpoint. Third quarter. Reynolds runs for a 1-yard touchdown, and giving it in the middle of the third, making it 17-10 Detroit. But in the waning seconds of the third, Mayfield hit White with a 12-yard touchdown pass, and it was tied at 17. Going into the fourth. Great game so far. With 13:30 remaining in the game, Gibbs, the running back for Detroit, ran 31 yards, touchdown, and it was 24-17. 7 minutes later, Goff hits Brown for a 9-yard score, 31-17 Lions. But Mayfield comes climbing back. See, Cleveland mistreated him. They chased him out of town. They laid all the blame on him. And now what's happening? He was still playing. And he was playing with a lot of guts and grit. And that's good. Great. So he hit Evans with a 16-yard touchdown. They went for 2 points, and that failed. So with 4:37, it was Detroit 31-23. The Bucs got the ball back with time, but they didn't use the time well. They only had a timeout, I think, with 2 minutes. There was a couple of funny time clock management stuff going on in that game. In the last 2 minutes of the game, Detroit didn't let enough time go out, and Tampa, their play calling was not good. They took the ball with no timeouts, way down close to their end. Usually in the NFL, the defenses will kind of let you get to midfield without using much time, but they threw the wide receiver screen. Everybody, let's get rid of not screen, but the wide receiver, one step off the line of scrimmage play that is tried about 700 times a game and works about one time. So maybe it's time that particular play, there's another way to get the ball in somebody's hands. You hand it off. Okay, that's good. So the Lions are in the NFC Championship to face the 49ers. Some good old-time NFL teams scrapping it. And to see who's going to come here to play. Who's going to be in Vegas to play whoever wins, Kansas City and Baltimore. Now let's get to that game. The Bills. The Bills did have a late charge in the season this year, and they did get to this game. But once again, they lose to Kansas City like they do every year. Now, 2 years ago, they lost with those 13 seconds left, and so everyone thought that was a one in a lifetime kind of a situation. But when it starts to be the same thing for the third year in a row, you got to start looking at things. Josh Allen, he plays all heart, and he's an incredible, fun player to watch. He does everything he can, but I mean, at some point they're a team that does not win in the playoffs. And you don't want to use the word choke, but the NFL loves the Buffalo Bills, and the NFL media does. If it was any other team, they'd be saying they're choking and that they falter in the big game. Fez is going to go about Miami coming up in an episode, and he will discuss how Miami is the team that can't win, and they put their second-year coach, who the team has made incredible progress, and they're saying that their second-year coach is on the hot seat for losing to Kansas City. And Sean McDermott, the coach of the Bills, he's okay. It was just one of those games where the kicker missed the field goal at the end. So it's all okay in Buffalo. That's why Buffalo loses 4 Super Bowls and every year to Kansas City. Kansas City won that divisional playoff in cold Orchard Park. Wasn't even in Kansas City. Buffalo can't even blame it on that. Mahomes, even though the Chiefs haven't really shown up in 2023, they somehow couldn't help themselves but got into the AFC Championship, even though they really took the season off. They're like the guy who never goes to class and then he just shows up for the exam and aces the exam. It's just, there's no explanation for it except that they have this great coach who knows the game. He's been to about 10 million conference championships. They have a supernatural quarterback. I mean, even when he has an off year, it still looks like he's playing on another planet with Mahomes. Travis Kelce is the greatest tight end in history as far as receiving. He and Mahomes connected. They broke the all-time playoff record for passing combination, and even passing Gronk and Brady and Gronkowski for combination touchdowns. And that's not just quarterback tight end, that's quarterback any receiver in playoff games. So yeah, you can only be amazed at what Kansas City managed to do even when they're not doing it. Now, they're going to face the Chiefs are going to face the Ravens, who beat Houston 34-10 on Saturday. They're going to be playing a couple miles away, as I like to say. Here's some weird things. This was Mahomes' first road playoff win, not including a Super Bowl, and that's strange. Here's somebody just visiting. Hey, be good now. Okay, so let's go to the game. Tyler Bass, the Buffalo kicker, missed the potential game-tying field goal from 44 yards out with 1:47 left, and then the Chiefs ran out the clock. When Travis Kelce scored a touchdown, he did a heart gesture up to the seats. And after the game, they said, "Wow, that was great, Travis. You were doing that for your girlfriend Taylor Swift." Taylor was there? No, I was doing it for my damn brother who came to the game. I'm just joking with that, everybody. Let's get back to the football game. Mahomes was 17 out of 23 for 215 yards, 2 touchdowns. Josh Allen was 26 out of 37 for 186 yards and a touchdown. Plus, he ran for 2 scores. He ran for 72 total yards, giving him 563 yards rushing in the playoffs, just second behind all-time Steve Young, who has 594 yards. In the first quarter, Buffalo scored first, a 22-yard field goal. 4:40 remaining in the first, Kansas City tied it up, 3-3. Second quarter, Allen. He rushes for a 5-yard touchdown. Bills lead 10-3. Kansas City kicks a field goal. Midpoint of that, with 9:15 left before halftime. 29-yard field goal was 10-6. Bills. Mahomes to Travis Kelce for 22 yards, 13-10. With 4 minutes left in the half. But 30 seconds before halftime, quarterback out, Josh Allen rushes for 4 yards? For a 2-yard run. And the Bills lead 17-13 at half. In the third quarter, Kansas City pulls ahead 20-17 when Mahomes hits, can't even read my writing, Asico for a 3-yard touchdown. Hope I didn't mess up that name. 3:20. This is where it gets weird. 3:23 left in the third quarter. Josh Allen puts the Bills ahead with a 13-yard touchdown pass to Khalil Shakir. And it was 24-20. In the fourth quarter, there was only one score. No, yeah. With 14 minutes and 24 seconds left in the game, a running back for Kansas City, whose name I can't read, even though I wrote it, Paul Chen. This is why we need Fez for all these names. Fez is out. Fez is not in the studio at the moment. We need the man to get these names right. I don't know this stuff. Buffalo, then it was 20. So that made it. The Kansas City touchdown made it 27-24, and that's odd with that much time. Pretty much the entire fourth quarter. That was the only score. That was the last score of the game. Buffalo missed the field goal at the end. And the final score was Kansas City 27, Buffalo 24. A few strange things. I saw a highlight of the game, one play. Mahomes is like 10 yards past the line of scrimmage, and he fakes pumps a pass, and there's like 10 offensive linemen running next to him. But the Buffalo Bill guy, defender, Louis linebacker leaper, leaps up like he's going to block a forward pass like, I don't know. Maybe that didn't happen, but that's the way it looked. I had to watch that again, but that's not a good look for Buffalo. And Kansas City is a physical team, just like the Ravens. Physicality and a great quarterback, just like the Ravens. And Andy Reid, who mentored a familiar coach to us, Mr. John Harbaugh. He's coming back. The student meets the master. Now, who is the master? Andy Reid just, man, he just stays calm with all this shit. It just comes. See? And this motherfucker just wins. And Mahomes too, and Kelce, and the defense. You can't give enough credit for the defense. They got him here. So Kansas City's, they're actually a team you can't hate. I guess we have to root against them this week. All of you Baltimore Swifties, you think about how you're going to give the jinx to your Taylor Swift there. We have to beat the Chiefs to get to the Super Bowl. It's happening here. First time since 1971. The AFC Championship game. The winner goes to the Super Bowl. There aren't any teams left, including Kansas City, that are better than Baltimore. If any team does beat Baltimore, it would be an upset. Baltimore's the best team. They don't have a Kelsey, and nobody wants to give Lamar his credit, but they got some tough, tough football players on that Ravens team, as does Kansas City, but it's going to be here. So it's going to be a whole different scene for Kansas City. Baltimore can lose, but let's just hope they win, of course, so we can go to the Super Bowl. We want Lamar to win a Super Bowl. The city needs it. It's going to be spectacular on Sunday when the AFC Championship game is here. In the NFC, the Lions, Coach Dan Campbell. It'd be cool if they went and beat the 49ers. In fact, I have a feeling that it's going to be that 49ers, Ravens, Lions, and that would be a great Super Bowl. Okay. So, with that, I will say subscribe to LNB. That's the Late Night Baltimore. If you want to know real good, important football information, you will. Don't have any of the point spreads or any of that sort of stuff yet, but we got a week for all that shit. It's only Monday. The AFC Championship being in Baltimore, the NFC Championship being in San Francisco, and then 2 weeks from then in Vegas, the Super Bowl. Okay, but let's go for that one game at a time. Okay, everybody. Fez will be returning in our next show, baby, and on the next great show. Until then, keep rooting for them Ravens. And we gonna win. And we gonna beat the Chiefs. And we gonna go to the Super Bowl, baby. All right. This is your captain speaking. We understand that you have many options to watch podcasts. We are very flattered, honored that you chose this one, and we will live up to your standards. But we need Fez back, because guess what? Fez knows all the facts and all the names. You hear what I'm saying? Okay, everybody. Like and subscribe. And good night.